Hi, everybody. This is Jim Sewell of the APC. Thanks so much for joining us in the fifth and final of our Fall 2020 Print Innovations webinar series for the Advertising Production Club of New York City. We're thrilled to have a wonderful panel tonight from Neenah to present on their products and services, and we'll get into that in just a moment. But I do want to remind folks that this webinar series was originally going to be an in-person event in New York City in a beautiful photo studio loft on Earth Day, April 22nd. And then, of course, as 2020, COVID happened and the in-person events were canceled. We then thought we might do it in the fall. That was canceled. So we then worked together with our sponsors and exhibitors to come up with a webinar series for some of the primary mills that had already committed to exhibiting. We certainly hope to be able to have an event in the spring of 2021 or the fall of 2021 or spring of 2022. Who knows? It's 2020. So for now, we're trying to get together as a group and provide content and information so all of you can continue to further your career and enhance your creative and marketing options through education on what's new and what's available in the paper industry. As I said before, we got this started. There is a YouTube channel for the APC, APC-NYC is what you would search, and all of our webinars are posted there. This one will be posted within about a week. Without further ado, what I'd like to do is to introduce Tom Riley of Lindemeyer. Lindemeyer was the title sponsor of our in-person Earth Day event. And we've been really happy to have Tom join us on each of these webinars. And I'd like to give him just a few minutes to talk about Lindemeyer and their role as a leading distributor of paper in our industry in North America. Take it away, Tom.
Thanks very much, Jim. Glad you could all make it. If you've joined us for the other webinars in the series, welcome back. And if this is your first time, you have probably picked the coolest mill that we have. No offense to any of our other suppliers in the audience. We have done some really cool things with Neenah, especially some really nice and very effective co-branded pieces that have come to us from the depths of the mind of Michelle McDermott Potts, and we appreciate that. Please remember that we're here for you guys. We make it our business to be your warehouse. We stock just about everything that Neenah makes, and we have it ready for you in all of our markets for next day delivery. So make friends with your local Lindemeyer sales rep, and if you don't have one, we'll be happy to get one for you. But you can certainly reach out to me, and we'll look forward to helping you out. No further ado, I'll turn it over to Deborah.
Hey everybody, thanks so much for joining. My name is Deborah Korn. I am the founder of Project Peacock. I am also the intergalactic ambassador to the Printiverse at Print Media Center, and I think I'm on the board of the APC. I got the amazing packet from Neenah, and it says on it, rethink everything. And I cannot stress how important that is for everybody out there to be rethinking everything that they do right now, from the foundation to the delivery. And when it comes to the foundation, you want to stand out. You want to stand out with the goods that companies like Neenah has. So I'm honored to be here. I'm glad I could make it. I was traveling today, but I made sure that I was able to find a hotel room fast enough and be here. So really looking forward to the presentation. Without further ado, Jim, I kick it back to you. I kick it off to Neenah.
I'll take it for 1 second. So I do want to again thank the folks at Neenah. One of the key things that we've done in this webinar series is for those of you who have signed up at least a week in advance, we've had each of the mills send out a kit to wherever you happen to be working. So whether it's from home or you're back in the office already or wherever, many of the folks in the audience today do have a kit, and that gives us the ability when we're talking about paper to not just be looking at a screen with RGB pixels on it, but to actually be able to touch and feel and talk in more depth. So really, really appreciate Neenah for providing those last week. I got mine on Monday, and I think that really will enhance the presentation. So I'd like to turn it over to our New York area rep for Neenah, Georgianne Barron. Take it away, Georgianne.
Thanks, Jim, and thank you everyone for attending tonight. Very excited to be here. And you should have all received the packages. They went out late last week. So hopefully you got one. And then we also will be putting our information down at the end when Michelle goes through the slide, as to referencing each piece. In case you weren't able to get one before the presentation, we are happy to send one later. So we will put Dean and mine's information in there. So as all of you may or may not know, Holly Kirby did retire end of September. And Dean and myself are working the New York marketplace. We're very, I've been with Neenah for 3.5 years at this point, focusing a lot on beauty and fragrance, hospitality, and retail. And now I'm taking and handling also and other end users and design firms. So with my print production background, studio management production background, as well as in-house print buying, I've run the gamut from being a client of Neenah's for 20 plus years to loving the product so much, loving the promos so much that I decided to come and work for them. So I'm really looking forward to getting to know you and getting to, work more closely with everyone in the New York marketplace. So with that, I hand over to Dean Mirabetti.
Thank you, George. I appreciate it. Like George, I'm very excited to be here tonight on this WebEx and look forward to meeting with everybody. And also, like Georgianne said, Holly Kirby did a great job for Neenah in the market for 18 years. So she's going to be a tough act to follow, but we're going to do our best to exceed your expectations. I have been with Neenah for 11 years. I came to Neenah through the Fibermark acquisition. But prior to that, I like Tom Riley, was in distribution most of my career. I held various positions in a few distribution houses in the Metro New York market area. Georgianne and I work closely together. We work well. With Neenah, I've spent most of my time building our packaging business, calling on brands with Georgianne. So that could have been in the beauty and fragrance space. It could have been in spirits, consumer electronics, and our approach was really, again, focused on the brands. So in my current role, I'm going to spend most of my time working with our distributor partner, Lindenmeyer, both in New York and in Pennsylvania, and I will also be working with some end users as well. So between George and I think we'll do our best to cover it, and I'm super excited to work with you.
Thanks, Dean and Georgianne, and everyone on the call. Thank you for your time. So I'm going to share my screen. So I am the customer marketing manager at Neenah. I have been with Neenah for 23 years. So it's been a long time. My first job right out of college. So I've been with the company for a long time in a number of positions, but I went to school for marketing, and marketing is definitely my passion. So again, excited to be here with all of you today. Our theme today is Rethink Print. And as Deborah mentioned earlier, it is so important to rethink how you do your job, how you go to market, just even in your personal life, rethinking how everything's done. And so we really thought it would be a fitting theme for this particular meeting. So today we're going to touch on kind of Neenah and who we are today. I know a lot of you have been working with us for years, but we've really diversified as a company. So we would just want to make sure that you're fully aware of all of our products. And then really want to highlight key trends in print today, really specifically around sustainability, e-commerce, and technology fatigue. Again, it's about staying relevant and having products that are relevant in today's crazy world. And then just another reminder, if you have our Neenah sample kit, you might want to take that out. We will be highlighting a couple of the promos within that kit. So who is Neenah today? So if you think about Neenah 10 years ago, we were predominantly a writing, text, and cover mill. But obviously with 9/11 and the 2008 recession, we've seen a decline in commercial print. So we've really needed to diversify and look at other product categories. So packaging and wide format are two of those growth categories that we've ventured into. So I'm going to talk a little bit more about the products within our categories. So commercial print, again, you know our Neenah brands, you know the classics. What's great about the classics It's our flagship brand. If you need a smooth, if you need texture, we have a variety of colors and textures within the Classics line. If you have a client that's looking for doing something different with their corporate collateral and they want to use a smooth sheet, but they want to mix in some fun texture, we have those products that can maintain that consistency and quality across the board. The design collection, I like to think of this as the funky paper group. Anytime I ever ask anybody about the design collection, that's what they call it. Those are the books that they go to for the funky papers. So the beautiful soft touch papers, pearlized papers. And we have our Environment and Royal Sundance. So our craft papers, our PC white products, our Astra Brights, and then envelopes as well. So again, I know you're all very familiar with our core text and cover brands. But let's go into the other categories. So packaging, Neenah folding board. So we want to highlight our folding board products. They're uncoated, obviously. We've got a variety of colors, so it's not just white. We have craft papers and we have some nice deep blacks. When we talk about those colors, it's important that you have solid color throughout. You think about the scoring and the folding, and you don't want that white show through, especially if you have a really premium product. If it gets nicked, so again, that solid color throughout is very important. Texture, really being able to stand out just and look very beautiful with a wonderful texture. Our brightest whites, recycled content options, and then we do have custom capabilities with our folding board as well. We also want to highlight that we produce Estate and Bella label. A lot of our label products are sold through pressure sensitive customers like Avery Dennison and Raflatac, but we do have a digital offering in terms of digital label with the pressure sensitive backing. I think now more than ever, people are really drinking more. We will say that our label sales have continued to grow even during the pandemic. So you think about label, obviously craft beers, spirits and wine, but also food. So if you think about labels for spaghetti sauce or jams, or even using a label to close a box of some sort. So there are all sorts of options with our label. IMAGEMAX paper card. So one of the key themes that we're going to talk about is sustainability, and to have a paper card option for those that want gift cards. So 100% paper-based, 100% blue bin recyclable. I've listed or shown here a couple of our top customers. Amazon is actually our largest IMAGEMAX paper card customer. So they transitioned from plastic to that paper card. And then the third category, wide format, we really want to highlight our signage and wall decor products. So we have new PVC-free signage products. Again, something that's very important, that PVC replacement, that plastic replacement. We have our IMAGEMAX signage. It's 100% paper-based, static-free, again, PVC-free. We have our Convert Wipe Clean product. It's a board product that you can actually wipe. You can spray disinfectant on it, water, and it just maintains its integrity. So it acts like plastic, but it's paper-based and prints beautifully. And we just announced our DigiScape footprint. So one of the big trends we're seeing right now is floor graphics because of social distancing. So we now have a PVC-free floor graphic as well. And then lastly, within our wide format, another major focus for us is our DigiScape wall decor. And it is that latex saturated, non-woven wall covering. And it is, again, that superior alternative to the PVC wall decor that's out there. So that was just a little bit in regards to who we are and the products that we support. But now we want to turn over to the key trends in print today. Obviously, lots of changes. And as we started at the beginning of the call, rethink everything, rethink print. Everybody has to look at doing things differently because of the COVID pandemic. And so we want to highlight some of those trends and then reiterate some of those great solutions that are still relevant today. So sustainability. Sustainability, although it was important even prior to COVID, is still very important. And we want to make sure that we're highlighting those products. But a little bit about sustainability. So when you think about sustainability, what first comes to mind? I know when I think about it, I think about our oceans and they're full of plastic. I think about those poor images of a turtle with a straw up its nose. So obviously a huge, huge focus is plastic replacement. And we have products that can take place of plastic. So what we really want to highlight here is just that negative impact of plastic and then the positive impact of paper. So if you look at the recovery rate, 4.4%. So every minute, one garbage truck of plastic is dumped into the oceans. So what they're saying is by 2050, there will be more plastic than there are fish. And that's really, really frightening. It also takes decades to break down. And then when that PVC breaks down, it's just the pieces are smaller. And then positive impact of paper. So paper has a 68.1% recovery. And paper supports a circular economy, which I'm going to touch on in a bit as well. But paper can be recycled up to 7 times. So the circular economy. So if you think about a linear economy, that's where you basically use a product and you throw it out, and that sits in a landfill. Circular economy is being able to repurpose that product and use it again. So being able to manufacture the product, consume it, recycle it, and then it goes back into the manufacturing process and is repurposed. So when we talk about sustainability, one of the big trends is just around retail signage. So you think about all those big brands and end users out there. Sustainability initiatives are more important than ever. The products we choose to print on today have a global effect on our climate tomorrow. Again, that paper over plastic to reduce your carbon footprint, and paper just simply prints better while minimizing waste and streamlining those production times. And buyers will align with manufacturers that demonstrate shared values. So these are some big trends just in the retail signage space. Again, if you remember me talking about the brands earlier, I wanted to put some applications to those brands. So social distance from PVC and grow with sustainable paper-based gift card and signage solutions. So again, you have your paper card. So moving from that plastic card to 100% paper-based. The DigiScape footprint, and I'm actually going to go into the footprint in a little bit more in terms of that space and how marketers are looking to utilize that space. Our IMAGEMAX signage, again, it's that 100% paper-based, PVC-free. And then our Wipe Clean, which is our new Convert product where you can disinfect and spray water, cleaners, and wipe it down, and it maintains its integrity. So another trend, floor graphics. So if you think prior to COVID, floor graphics weren't used as frequently. I mean, you think about what happened in March, and now every store has floor graphics. But marketers have realized this is a great space. Now people are looking at the floor. They look for those social distancing emblems. So now marketers are going to look at floor space as just another area to take advantage of and to be noticed. So floor graphics evolving into that advertising space. It's not just for social distancing. And then here, really want to illustrate, if you think about a retail shop, and some of the things that we've talked about, whether, it's the, wall decor or any other signage within that environment. So here's just that illustration. So everything that's popped up, so that's in purple or in pink, is a Neenah product. So floor graphics, wall decor, any sort of signage that sits on a shelf. So again, just a nice illustration in terms of all the areas that we can provide a sustainable option for signage. So we talked about the retail space, but we also know what's happening to retail. Brick and mortar is declining, malls are shutting down, and a lot of folks are moving towards online ordering. So thought it was important that we touch on the whole e-commerce trend as well. So when it comes to e-commerce and our products, it's important that you think inside the box. So we're going from products that are being featured with their packaging on a shelf in a store to those products now being showcased as you open a corrugated box on your doorstep or inside your home. So it's really important to think about the customer experience. So what are some of those things that you can do differently to make your brand more memorable? Because as you think about all the different boxes, and I will tell you, working from home, and if you're looking outside, at any given time in the day, I see a FedEx truck, a UPS truck, or an Amazon Prime truck. And they will stop in the road, and I'm thinking, oh, I'm getting my delivery. And that delivery guy or girl goes to about 3 or 4 homes around mine and drops off packages, sometimes 4 to 5 packages at a shot at one home. And so you think about all those packages being opened. You want to make that package memorable when you open it. You want to stand out, especially if it's a higher end product. And so I've included some imagery here that gets you thinking differently about the unboxing moment when it comes to e-commerce. So whether it's laminating a beautiful texture or pearlized paper to the corrugated, when you open that up, you have that really beautiful inside texture or color that'll really pop. Making sure that you add a little personalized note as well. So taking from the commercial side of the business and again, using a nice premium sheet. And then label as well. You can use label to close something. Again, just a nice option as well. But it's all about the unboxing moment and thinking inside the box in terms of how you can really enhance that customer experience. Also wanted to touch on the subscription box. So subcom, as they're calling it. So a lot of customers now are just setting up their orders and they're receiving their subscription boxes on a regular basis. So 54% of online shoppers are a member of a subscription box service. So again, here are some examples. And again, you want it to be fun, you want it to be memorable. So using those paper substrates, labels, or little personalized cards just adds that really nice touch to be remembered by. Technology fatigue. And no, this is not an image of me, although it kind of looks like me, I guess. But technology fatigue is a real thing right now because as we're working from home and we're online, we're getting inundated with emails from those trying to solicit our business. So I want to touch on combating the technology fatigue. So I've got some stats here. Email marketing is obviously at an all-time high, and that is expected to grow. But the average office worker gets 121 emails a day. Now, I thought that was kind of low because I feel like I get a lot more than that, but still, it's a lot of emails. And the average click-through rate in North America is 3.1%. So not very high, very low actually. The average lifespan of an email is 2 seconds. So it doesn't live very long. And then you have the email fatigue, which equals you're going to be ignored potentially. That customer is going to potentially delete that email, or the worst case scenario is unsubscribing. So I think about all the emails I get, and quite honestly, how do you stand out in the sea of emails? I know my emails, there are people that I'll get emails from and I'll know their names and I'll click in and I'll read that email. But if you have a company or a brand trying to get your attention, how often does that happen through your email? Again, there's really no great way to stand out. So it's really around staying connected through direct mail. So making sure that you're using the right substrate to get noticed. So according to the United States Postal Service, 56% of people stated that receiving and reading mail is a real pleasure. And up to 90% of direct mail actually gets opened. So you think back to, you know, the 3.1% click rate on email, then you think about that 90% of direct mail actually getting open. That's really important. You can stand out. And I think about my mail bin right now. I feel like the direct mail has really declined. So now if brands were to start utilizing that as a means to get in front of their customers, you know, they'll stand out and they'll get noticed. The color factor. So when it comes to direct mail, it's really important that you use color or texture, something that stands out. I want all of you to think about the mail that you get on a day-to-day basis. And you get that sea of commodity white envelopes. And then you get that one colored envelope, that pearlized envelope, something with some texture. Right away, your thought is it's a greeting card or it's an invitation to something. But you're going to grab that first and foremost out of the pile and you're going to open it. And regardless of whether it was an invitation from a friend or if it is a brand trying to get noticed, they got noticed. You actually opened that envelope because it stood out. So using color again and texture or pearlized can really help get noticed. And I think this year, more than any other time, connecting during the holidays is going to be so important. And think of that personal holiday greeting card and using a 3D dimension to really stand out. So you get something like this in the mail where you have different components and you're interacting with it. And you put it together and you put it on your desk or on a counter. And you see how different it is from all the other cards. I mean, that's going to stand out. So just thinking of different ways to connect. And again, I think this year, you know, that personal connection is going to be all that much more important with what everyone's going through with the COVID pandemic. So restaurants, so a trend. I remember when COVID first started, I remember hearing about governors mandating single-use menus. And I thought, well, maybe there's still an opportunity there. But a lot of what happened in the restaurant was they were printing a QR code on something. And I've been to some restaurants where they've taken that QR code, they print it on just a plain white piece of paper and they tape it to the table. I've only been to 2 restaurants that have been outside, but both of them had the QR code just kind of taped to the table. Well, there are ways that you can showcase that QR code, which I have illustrated here with our Wipe Clean product. Again, that product that you can take the disinfectant to, you can wipe it down along with the table, and it maintains its integrity. So there's that option. And here this image is kind of bland, but think about adding some really fun design to it, maybe some special die cuts. I mean, you can really make it stand out and look better than just having it on a whiteboard or even particularly just taping it to that table. But also, so you think about restaurants, you know, there are some that are still, you know, taking patrons in and serving them in the restaurant. But at the start of the pandemic, you know, a lot of restaurants had to start thinking differently about how they reach their customers and how they get their food to their customers. And a lot of that was through takeout and delivery. One nice opportunity would be to utilize direct mail to send your menu to showcase, you know, what you're featuring, to showcase kind of your brand. So using, again, color or texture to stand out. You can highlight, you know, the takeout options and the delivery services that you offer. And you can also feature coupons. So you can offer a percentage off for their next visit. So just a nice way to reach the customer in a different way. Again, I know I've had takeout menus that I pull and I still refer to them. I go to that drawer where I have all our takeout menus and I refer back to it. So just a nice different way to reach your audience and connect with those that you still want to serve. And then lastly, I just wanted to touch on digital printing. You know, a lot of what we talked about tonight could be short run type business. And as you're looking at that type of business, you're working with the client, you know, think differently about the substrate that's used. especially on the shorter runs. You know, if you're looking at a more premium product, you know, the budgets aren't as big, so you can do many different things. So I've included just some imagery around pearlized labels, those recycled options with 100% PC white, short run packaging. So again, setup boxes and those types of things, alternative fibers, and then just, again, those unique textures. So just something to think about as you're working with clients that, again, want to stand out during these troubling times. There still are lots of opportunities for that. And now I just really wanted to highlight, again, our 2 reps in the Metro New York, New Jersey market. Dean Marabetti, who will be handling the printers and merchant clients. And then Georgianne will be working with design, agency, and corporate clients. So again, since we just had the changeover from Holly Kirby, just wanted to make sure that you're all aware of your contacts. And if there's anything within this presentation that you want to learn more about, whether it's our position on sustainability, whether it's a product in particular, one of our signage products, one of our packaging products, please feel free to reach out to Georgianne or Dean, and we'd be happy to set up a follow-up call with you to go over those types of items in more detail.
Thanks so much, Michelle. That was great. And I got my first of the year, and I put together my snowflake. It's one of the things that I've always said whenever I've been in those meetings deciding in August on a corporate Christmas card is do something that's universal. It's got to be a holiday card so you don't offend anybody. But I just love it when you can do something that actually creates a decoration that I can have on my desk. So I'm happy to have a Neenah Christmas snowflake, or holiday snowflake on my desk already. So anyway, if you have questions for our group, please put it into the chat window. Let's see. Also, Deborah, did you have any questions that came up from what you?
Not necessarily a question, but can you guys, I know Convert from when Convert was actually its own company. I'm so glad that you guys have adopted it. I think it's a fascinating product, and I don't believe that everybody really understands what it is. So I think you should, if you have a minute, just explain a little more what it is. It's really cool.
Convert White Clean, we actually have Convert White Clean comes in 4mm. And we originally produced this off the Convert board line, which comes in 1.5, 3, 4.7, and 6. It is all paper-based, which is beautiful. It's blue bin recycled. And that way, if you're a retailer, if you're a trade show, I know those have gone away for a little bit, any kind of signage, it's just a great alternative. And it is rigid and durable enough to have it as a standee. We had Barefoot Wines use it. We did a case study. Deborah, I'm sure Jason has told you, Jason Leonard, our technical specialist. Universal Studios did it, where they actually made it into, a triangular type of stand, yeah, that basically, they had brochures in it. So the durability, we also put it in with black in the middle, or we have white on one side, black in the middle, black on the back. We can also do a custom color as well. Then the White Clean was made originally specifically for a customer that now we are offering to everybody, and that is in 4mm. And we have done numerous testing over the years with the disinfectant to make sure that the print does not run. And again, it's a great display use for people who are wiping things down, because they know that people are touching, and everyone's very sensitive to that right now as well. So it's a beautiful product. And the one thing we also do say for our wide format products in particular is, work with your wide format PSPs. And, we're happy to work. Lindenmeyer has stockings. Lindenmeyer also has sample sheets, or they can also help get them for you. And then work with your printer that you work with, so that you can really, they know their equipment better, but, that way at least you can see what the output would look like. And they come in 24x42 sheet sizes for sample packs.
I've seen a Convert made into tables at trade show. I've seen it made into stools, into display cases. It's really an amazing product. One last question, if you would indulge me. With your cleanable paper, are you marketing that as antimicrobial, or is it just strictly you can clean it with alcohol and things like that?
We researched the term antimicrobial, and I think there's a lot of legalese that goes behind that.
Mm-hmm.
So it is, we just say it is wipe clean. And with that, the disinfectant will not ruin the print. Michelle, if you have any more on that, but I think that was, when we looked into that, it just, that was how
Yeah,
we.
I don't actually blame you. I think you're doing a wise thing to stay out of that lane. So thank you so much for indulging my questions.
Yeah, no, thank you for being so excited about the product. So the question is, do you see, from Molly Rosenthal, do you see any trends for 2021 for colored paper?
So, so obviously we're always researching. I mean, I included the color stat in terms of the response rates and increasing your response rates by 20%. Right now, I not off the top of my head, but I can certainly, if we have any of those trends, I can get back to you, Molly, on that. And I don't know if they were thinking more of like the Pantone color of the year, like colored trends that way, or just, what color can do to help drive business. But yeah, I'll pull some more stats and I can send them your way.
Hey, this is Dean. Just a comment on color. I mean, I think one of the things that I'm seeing is, as we've worked with different brands, that's one of the things Neenah is very, very good at, our ability to match a color or hone in on a color consistently. We certainly do a lot of that with Lindenmeyer, but I think of brands like Jack Daniels, I think of brands like Tiffany, and just so many other brands where we will manufacture colors for them. So I think color is becoming more and more important to a brand. And so from where I sit in the business that I'm involved in, I do see colors becoming more impactful and people turning to color.
That's great. One of the things I also wanted to point out to those of you who got the kit, or if you haven't, please reach out to Dean and Georgianne to request it. But the gift cards are just really amazing. They have a beautiful rigid feel, and yet really a nice smooth texture. And it looks like I got $170 of gift cards just by requesting a sample kit. So I got to run out and spend these. I don't know if these stores are close by, but I'll look for them. The Rooster Bar and Grill sounds like one that's down the road on Route 22 somewhere. But thanks for that. So if you didn't get your card, your kit, you can certainly request it now from Dean or Georgianne, and they'll send one of those out to you. But really great samples in that. And just wanted to give another opportunity for anyone to ask questions. And just had one others in terms of I know that there's a number of brands that have been acquired in the Neenah portfolio recently. Just question for the group, how much of the product that you market is US, North American produced, and how much of that is imported now with some of these acquisitions?
I could take a run. Michelle, you want to take a run at that one? Or?
Yeah, I mean, the majority of our products, with the exception of the Cordanone's brands, are all manufactured here in the US. So
Great.
A good portion of our products are manufactured here in the US.
Yeah. And just another question we've touched on with a few of the mills, and it's appropriate with Lindenmeyer as a sponsor as well. What do you see the trends in supply? We've certainly seen, as some of the volumes were down earlier this year, that some materials, some specialty materials in particular, were hard to come by. In terms of people were making marketing decisions on very short notice, and then sometimes a designer had picked a material that wasn't available in that quantity. Are there any recommendations for printers, designers, marketers in terms of how best to be sure they can produce their program with the most interesting materials that they have in mind?
Yeah, I think, with COVID, you saw a lot of companies reducing their inventories. What I'm happy to say is we're starting to see that nice increase in inventory levels again. So just from a availability perspective, more of our product will be available locally through Linda Meyer. Linda Meyer does a great job for us in terms of stocking our products and really across all categories, not just our commercial brands, but also the folding board, packaging products, and our wide format products as well.
I would say if anybody has interest, and I'm sure you do after you got that great sample pack in any of Neenah's products, give us a call and we can let you know what's available both in our facilities and at the mill. So you can use that as part of your planning process. Yeah,
so that was just my other recommendation in that is that you know, with a number of these things, just don't assume that it's like projects can go from where you're planning, you know, 500 invitations for an event, very different than when you've got 500,000 pieces you're going to mail. So in any of those conversations, for those of you on the design side and the marketing side, you know, just reach out to your print service provider and, you know, they'll work with their local distributor and the mill to be sure that they can supply the material you need. So I know in one of the pieces I did recently, we used 2 different kinds of envelopes that were similar. And we thought about even turning that into an A-B, but we were able to come up with 2 that were similar enough. But we just, you know, it was literally a mailing that was happening 7 days after the design, the files were released. And so we, you know, we worked with Linda Meyer to come up with what we could get quickly that would work. And it was all fine. My client was fine in the end with it. But again, if you want to use some of the more exotic piece substrates on large projects, reach out early. And my experience has been that Neenah and Linda Meyer will jump through hoops to be sure that they can get that material on the next truck heading to the east and eventually deliver it right to the printer or get it in and combine with stuff that's already in inventory at the merchant.
Yeah, if I can make one more point about availability, don't be shy about the size of your job. If you have a need for small quantities, you know, that's something that we're happy to do. So if you need 50 sheets of 26 by 40, pick a color and pick a basis weight, you know, there's a pretty good chance that we have what you need or something like it. Neenah also has a really great digital offering that complements their folio sheet offering. So if you're doing a small digital job, we have those products as well. And the last thing I would note, because we answer a lot of questions like this and hopefully bail a lot of people out, if you're designing a job that has an envelope requirement, pick the envelope first. Pick the size of the envelope and the colors, because so many times we get calls for, you know, a funky size envelope that has a minimum to manufacture and takes 3 weeks. And then we try to back into the paper that we can find to fit it. So check on the envelope first and make sure you have something that's readily available if you need it quickly, and we can pair it up for you.
Yeah, sounds good. So we had a comment in the Q&A as well from Pat Johnson. Pat, I don't know if you're ready for this, but I can allow you to talk if you would like to comment on that. Pat's one of our APC board members, so I'm going to try a function we haven't used in the webinar format before. But Pat, if you want to make your comment orally, just turn on your microphone and you can chat to the group. Yeah, we got you.
Hear you.
Oh, cool. So I just like that Design Your Life book that you guys sent out in the sample pack. I think nowadays a lot of production managers and people are just, you know, dealing with a lot of heavy thoughts. And I thought the content of it is really amazing. It makes you just look at things that you don't normally look at and reconsider some things that you don't necessarily feel comfortable thinking about, but it's a cool book. So I thought it was something that you should probably consider selling at like a Target, because I think a lot of people, even outside of print, would really benefit from this.
Yeah. I love this because now you have the rounded corners and a nice little book with embossing or debossing and a elastic closure, but places to write down some interesting introspective thoughts like your first kiss, your first award, your first pet, top 5 people who've influenced me, top 5 beverages I can't live without. Like, it's all kinds of interesting things. And this is one of those things that would be great as a memory book too, that, you know, I could see discussing this with my kids 20 years from now or something like that. Or maybe they, when they're telling their kids about me and they've got this, at least it's where I was in 2020. So a really beautiful, thought-provoking piece.
Very
Yeah.
thoughtful.
Is there only room for 5 favorite beverages, Jim?
Well, the whole thing is to make some choices, Tom, so you don't just list everything. Because you know what, it's 2020, you can't have everything. As much as,
Right.
as a merchant, I know you want all of us to have whatever we want, but sometimes you have to say, no, pick 5. Or that's the no soup for you school of customer service.
So we can, Patrick, sorry, we can let our consumer team know that, you know, we obviously have that whole division as well, that, you know, and pass along your feedback. Thank you. I love those journals. As you know, I just think they are so timely with exactly kind of light and airy and design your life. Okay, what does that mean right now? And
Yeah, definitely. I participate in a mentoring circle at work too, and we often have like thought-provoking conversations. So I might actually hit you up for some samples of maybe 5 to 10 of these if you guys don't mind.
all right, email me and I'll work with you on that.
That'd be great.
All right, I put my email in the chat and I did put Dean's as well. The other thing I wanted to make sure I pointed out to everyone was you received a Rethink brochure. That is one of my most favorite pieces of all time as a client of Neenah's and as an employee of Neenah's. I think it's paper sunshine. I really do. And if you go on to neenahpaper.com/rethink, you can watch the webinar that our creative director, Dallas Franklin, did, as well as the videos from the designers. There's 5 designers showcased, or 5 design teams, because some are couples, that also show their creativity behind what they created for the piece. It's just really neat and fun. And you know, one of my favorites is the Zero Waste Daniel. He was featured in the New York Times. He's all about saving scraps from the fashion industry and making literally clothes out of only scraps. And then we had him do a piece with paper and he sewed it all, you know, so just really neat. And again, just something light and airy and tactile. So if you have a chance, check that microsite out.
That's awesome. So another comment was regarding availability of the presentation. So as we said at the beginning, this is all being recorded. The entire presentation with the video and comments and questions will be on YouTube next week. So just go onto YouTube and search for APC-NYC. You'll see our channel and you'll see the presentations from Neenah and all the other mills that participated in this. Also, I want to, as we wrap up, would like to remind everybody, we talked a little bit about the process of this webinar series. So what we've done is not only do we give multiple mills a chance to present about their product line and take your questions, but we're also have invited these mills to participate in our next meetup. So we've had almost monthly meetups through COVID online with the APC. Our next one is going to be on October 29th at 6 p.m. It's a couple days before Halloween, and Halloween this year is a full moon. Some of your normal Halloween social activities could be curtailed a little bit. So we invite you to put on a costume, put on a mask, and join us for a meetup on the 29th. And we're going to have at least 3 breakout rooms on that meetup, one for each of the mills that have presented since our last meetup. So that would include Verso, Domtar, and Neenah. So in the breakout rooms, you'll have the opportunities to have video conversations with the mill reps and have whatever kind of discussion you might want. So, and we invite you to pour yourself a glass of wine. Drinks are on you. And So there'll be an opportunity. So we liken this type of presentation to a conference room presentation, and the meetup is like you're stopping by somebody's table at a paper show. You got a drink in your hand, you've got creatives with you. If you've got other people at work that you would like to attend, please invite them. The webinar, the YouTube videos, and the meetup are all free. They're not limited to our members only. They're free to anyone. So please, when those promos go out next week, please share that Zoom meeting information with anyone that you like in your network, and join us. The meetups are a lot of fun. You'll likely see a few people you don't know. You'll see a few people you know and some you don't know, but it's been they've been a really nice break from being on Zoom doing more formal meetings all day long. So anyway, that again is on Thursday night, the 29th, from 6 to 7:15 p.m. and we will have at least 3 breakout rooms. So if you haven't requested your sample kit, please do it now, and that you can certainly go through, as Pat did and Deborah did, ask questions and make comments on any of the sample pieces that you have at that point. So anyway, thanks so much for joining us. Thank you, Georgianne and Dean and Michelle for presenting. It was great information. Thank you, Tom and Linda Meyer for hosting the series. And thanks, Deborah, for joining on this and hosting, and your comments and questions are always of great value. So thanks, everyone.